Hello, my love. Good morning to you. I hope that this finds you well. I hope that you're rested, perhaps excited, perhaps just calm and serene. I'm thinking about you as always. I hope I hope as you go about your day today that you make eye contact with someone in I was going to say meaningful way, but not necessarily. Perhaps simply in an I see you sort of way. Or maybe not. I say I hope, but it's really not necessary. Perhaps an idea of the day. I hope you are well. Good morning. I was thinking about limiting your inputs and how important it is to not limit your inputs. And by this I mean taking in things from various sources, especially when it comes to being creative. I have found that I was most creative when I exposed myself to new and different things, which is why, in large part, my musical tastes are so eclectic. I did not always initially love all the various types of music that I listened to and that I enjoyed so much. But exposing myself to different things really opened my experience, obviously, but also my mind to seeing things and hearing things differently. There was a point in time when I was listening to a podcast on writing, and it was extremely valuable. But I realized that in terms of my creative process, it was actually better to listen to things that weren't on writing and that weren't on subjects that I was intimately familiar with, such as instead listening to a podcast on philosophy or daily life or any sort of thing. But the point is that if you limit your inputs, if the idea of creativity, if you ascribe to the idea that we actually do not create things new or we do not create things cut from whole cloth, but rather we take two different things and add them together and from that create something. If creativity is the act of combining two different things, if you limit your input, you limit the number of things that you have that you can actually combine to create. And this applies not simply to artistic creation, but even problem solving and creation of material things and business and manufacturing and systems and myriad sorts of environments where this equally applies. So my recommendation is to not limit your inputs, to look for new sources, whether it's changing the television show that you watch, changing the type of movies that you watch, changing the theater you go to, the music you listen to, the books you read, any of these things, the people you interact with. Changing your inputs, varying your inputs, I found leads to much greater creativity, or the potential at least for much greater creativity. So I will leave it at that for you to ponder. You may disagree, you may not. But I hope that you are well, and I will recommend for you the music of Run the Jewels, which most assuredly will not be, at least initially, to your liking. You were never, at least as much as I knew, a fan of hip hop, and you most certainly were not a fan of adult words. And this is most surely a combination of both. But it is music that I thoroughly enjoyed, and so I will recommend that for you. And then also, I will recommend the book Poems to Learn by Heart. And this should be very familiar to you because we read it together. And it's a collection of poems edited or curated, I suppose I should say, by Carolyn Kennedy, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's just a collection of obviously meaningful poems. For those are the ones one would learn by heart. So I throw those out to you to ponder, consider, and with that, I will bid you adieu. I love you.